Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, back with another black and white Pokemon analysis. Today we're going to be discussing the Brutality Pokemon known as Sazandora. So let's get started by taking a look at its typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Sazandora has some pretty interesting typing, which is that of Dark and Dragon. So normally dragon types, especially ones that have like pseudo wings like this thing, are paired with the flying type. But since this is Dark Dragon, you don't have to suffer from the 4 times weakness to Ice and also the weakness to Stealth Rocks as well. So that's a great thing about Sazandora right off the bat. Also, the Dark typing gives you immunity to Psychic. What the hell was I thinking? And then with your ability Levitate, you're immune to Ground as well. So those are 2 immunities that you get just by using this Pokemon, which is excellent. The only thing that the typing does suffer from is that you are weak to priority moves like Mach Punch. So that is something you will need to watch out for when you're using Sazandora. But other than that, you got some pretty great typing to make use of, and since, as I said before, you don't suffer from similar weaknesses as other dragons, Sazandora is definitely at an advantage in that sense. As for the stats though, it doesn't actually have any bad stats, as you can see. But for its defenses, it has 92 HP, coupled with 90 defense and 90 special defense, which means that even if you really don't care to put any EVs into the defenses or HP, this Pokemon still can stick around for a while in battle because of the hits it can take, just because of its natural bulk. But if you do want to put or invest EVs into the defenses, you're more than welcome to, since that'll make Sazandora very difficult to take down. As for its attacking stats, it has 105 physical attack and 125 special attack. So regardless of what type of attack you want to use, physical or special, you definitely can make use of both of those great attacking stats. And Sazandora is not at a loss for physical or special moves, so there are plenty that you can make use of because of its coolness. But as for its speed, it has a really good 98. It's still not the most amazing speed in the world because there's a ton of other Pokemon that can outspeed you, but it's still great, and it will allow you to outspeed Ananokusu, which is the dragon I just posted in my previous video, so take a look at that if you haven't already. But because of that 1 extra speed point, you can actually outspeed that insanely powerful dragon with Sazandora. So that's a really cool thing about it, but there are still plenty of other Pokemon that can be faster than you and do a bit of damage. So that's just something you need to worry about. But other than that, as you can see, this Pokemon has great typing and great stats all around. So really, you probably will be ending up using this thing a lot. At least it's in probably 99% of the battles I've watched online. So I'm assuming that means it's really good. But with that, let's take a look at some sets that I came up with that could probably easily be used by Sazandora. So in this first set, we're going to give Sazandora a timid nature to increase its speed but lower its physical attack. And then we're going to be making use of the ability Levitate because it is the only ability that Sazandora gets. As for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into HP, 252 into special attack to give you your max special attack, and 252 into speed to give you your max speed possible. And with your item, this was kind of a joke where I just put down literally anything, because on a special set like this, really any item that you could possibly think of for a supposed sweeping Pokemon would make sense. You could put Choice Specs, Choice Scarf, Lumberry, Life Orb, really like anything from those 4. But other options are obviously available, and don't be like, oh, put a choice band on it, trying to be funny, because I thought of that and I didn't think it was that funny myself. But yeah, it just has a lot of options to make use of for a set like this. But as for the moves, the first 2 are abbreviated, which DP stands for Dragon Pulse and DM stands for Draco Meteor. Basically, those are like the 2 most powerful special dragon moves that you can make use of, so obviously they'll be the choice for your special set, and because they'll get stab and be very powerful. Draco Meteor does have the -2 stat drop that comes from it, so that's something you need to make note of, but if you're using a choice set, probably go at Draco Meteor over Dragon Pulse, because you can just come in and do as much damage as possible, and then switch out or whatever, because you're locked into the move anyways. As for the next move, we are going to make use of Fire Blast just so that we can do as much damage as possible with the fire move. Normally I would run Flamethrower, but because this Pokemon has such high special attack, you might as well just use it to its fullest potential by using the most powerful fire move that you can get. And then lastly, it's going to be a stab move, again, like Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, so we're going to be using Dark Pulse as the dark type attack that you can use that will get stab and also have a chance to flinch. But this Pokemon learns a ton of special moves, as I said before, so feel free to click the link below in the description that sends you to Cerebi, which tells you every single move that this Pokemon learns and everything like that, because there are a ton that I could just list off, but I'm not going to do that. And then lastly, we're going to make use of U-Turn, just because it seems to be pretty common nowadays to just have it. So the fact that this Pokemon can use it means you might as well just use U-Turn every now and then, because you could predict a switch and then get an advantage on your opponent. Or you can just use it for the heck of it if you need to use a physical attack, even though obviously this won't be that powerful. I don't know where I was going with there, but you know what I mean. It's useful and you can use it, so use it. But that's it for this set. As for this next set, we're going to be making use of Sazandora's physical attack stat, which is also very high. So first we're going to give it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, and then we're going to be using the ability Levitate again. As for the EVs, we're going to put 4 into HP, 252 into physical attack to give you the highest physical attack you can get with a Jolly Nature, and then 252 into speed to give you your max speed. This time, instead of literally anything, I was being more serious because we're going to use a Lumberry, not only to remove statuses that may hinder this Pokemon, such as Burn and Paralysis, or Sleep, but also to get rid of the confusion from Outrage, which is your first physical attacking move and probably the main move you're going to be using with this set because of how powerful it is and because it gets stabbed. So that's just something that works really well together and also can help Sazandora out if it's threatened by a status condition. Next, we're going to be using Crunch as your other dark type stab move, as your other move that gets stab because it's of the dark type. And that's a great move to round it all out, along with Earthquake, because this Pokemon gets Earthquake, and Earthquake is a really awesome move. So you might as well use it, because it'll definitely help you take care of Steel types that resist both Outrage and Crunch. But if you're faced against a Skarmory, unfortunately, there's not really much you can do about that. I think this Pokemon does learn Fire Fang, though, so you could possibly sub that for one of the other moves, probably Crunch, because that's probably the least useful out of all of these. But that's just another option, and obviously, again, you can check the description for a full analysis of it, a full analysis of all of its moves. By the way, if you didn't know that, I've been posting links for all of my sets to Cerebi that show every list of moves, so you might want to check those out if you haven't already. But lastly, again, we're going to be making use of U-Turn, but this time it's kind of more useful because of your high physical attack. So you can actually make use of it as an effective attacking move if you really want to. Lastly, for Sazandora, we have a mixed, bulky setup Sazandora, which sounds like a really, really long title for something like this, but it's the best way I could describe it. But first we're going to give it an Impish Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its special attack. And you might think that's weird because we're going mixed, but since we're boosting it, it doesn't really matter, and since you have pretty good speed to begin with, you want to keep it where it is as opposed to lowering your speed. So Impish made the most sense to me. Again, Levitate is our ability. And then for the EVs, we're going to put 128 into HP to max out your HP, and 128 into defense and physical defense to give you some pretty good bulk in both the physical and special areas. And as for the item, we're going to be making use of a Chesto Berry so that we can recover all of the damage we take while we're trying to set up physically and specially, and then be set to go in terms of attacking from both ends. But for the moves, the first we're going to use is Cheer Up, which is an awesome new move that increases both your physical attack and your special attack. So, and as you can see from the first slide in the set, this Pokemon has really good attacking stats in both areas. So even unboosted, they're pretty dang good. But with Cheer Up, they're going to be boosted very high, and since you're bulky, you could probably get a couple of those up before you rest off the damage you take, and then are awake from the Chesto Berry and free to attack. But with those attacking moves, you're going to be using Dragon Pulse as your main Dragon type, Special type move, because it's only resisted by Steel, so that's obviously the better option. And then Earthquake to take care of things that Dragon Pulse isn't super effective against, and deal with Steel types that would resist Dragon Pulse, and also allow you to attack physically. So it's a really cool mixed set that is bulky and can set itself up to be really powerful if you get the chance to. So it's just something a little different than what you're used to seeing, but I wanted to find a way of making use of this Pokemon's high defenses, or decently high defenses, because most people just go straight to attack and speed when they're making sets. But that's about it for Sazandora, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was fun to make it, and that's about it. So take care and goodbye.